Willie D. Live.
What's up, family? If it's your first time checking out the show, let me know what city, what state you're coming in from. If you're outside of the U.S., let me know what country you're representing. Throw up your flag. Family, I need you to smash up the likes, smash up the likes, smash up the likes. Also, if you have not done so already on YouTube after you subscribe, there's a little bell next to your subscribe button. Go ahead and click that thing right now so you can get your notifications each time I drop a new video like this. That way you'll be in the loop. Going in, fam. Karmelo Anthony has been denied a new trial, but this case is far from over. Yeah, for all of you haters out there licking your chops. Yeah, his attorneys are taking the fight to the Fifth Court of Appeals. And the hearing just exposed some damaging evidence about not only Carmelo Anthony, but Austin Metcalf. This evidence is evidence that the jury never heard. Karmelo was convicted of murder and sentenced to 35 years. Judge Michael Shitty, well, I guess I got it wrong. I think it's Shitty. He denied the new trial motion on August 22nd. So I was like, we gotta get into this because I really, I actually was at the trial. I mean, not the trial, but I was actually at the hearing for the new trial. I was on location in Collin County. Very hostile environment. Very hostile environment. The guards there was good lord, man. They mean mugging the whole side that was supportive uh, Carmelo Anthony. It was like it felt like the damn 1960s, man. Like, yeah, remember how you had all the blacks on one side and the whites on the other side? It was a little bit more, just a little bit teeny winny, a little bit more integrated, but damn, yeah, man, it was wild. So I wanted to bring a good friend of the show on to show on to speak on this in detail and kind of break it down for us. Attorney Jack Paul Mary is with us. What's up, Jack?
How are you, Willie? Nice to see you. Thank you for having me as always.
Hey, absolutely. Man, before I go too far into this, going before I go too far into the Carmelo Anthony case, I want to address something that one of my viewers actually a comment that he made, and he do not like you, Jack. Straight up, he do not like you. He said he wanted me to ask you, do you still believe that um, Christine Wansley, um, Nolan Wells' mother, obstructed justice?
I never thought she obstructed justice. I went back and watched my video, and rewatching it, I don't think I used the word justice. I do think she was impeding the investigation, not obstructing justice. There's a difference there. I do
Oh,
think I don't blame her for how she feels and why she's doing it, but at the same time, I do think there are reasons why she could do more if she wanted to. But I don't blame her if she doesn't want to.
yeah. How do you think that she was like impeding justice?
I think this is the cell phone. As much as she doesn't trust the government and she has a reason not to, she also wants answers. And if she wants answers, she needs to be tendering the phone to help get those answers. Um, I don't want to go too down the rabbit hole against her because, again, she is a mother in grief. And I still want to be very sympathetic to that. But from an investigative standpoint, from a criminal law standpoint, if she wants more done and more should be done, she could contribute the phone and let the investigators do what they need to with it. That's just one of the things. But it's not right or wrong. If she doesn't want to, they can't compel her.
Right, right. Okay. So okay, let's switch gears right quick into this Carmelo Anthony new trial. Um, was that legally predictable to you, the denying of the new trial?
I was disappointed. I definitely was riding the momentum from the day before. I was optimistic. I was with you those days, and I was hopeful. Um, I knew then this judge had a history of typically not granting these motions. And I will say, overall, they're uncommon at this level because for the sitting judge, it needs to be so obvious. It needs to be so overt that there's really no question. And there was no question to me. I think it should have been granted. So I can understand the judge's reasoning. I would have liked for him to have given some reasoning. It would have really been nice if he had written an order to that effect. I think that would have been helpful, but helpful for the appeal process. Um, so I can, myself putting it together, figure out why he would have denied it at this stage. I still think it was possible, but I've been wrong before.
Yeah, I keep hearing attorneys say that it's not likely for a judge to overturn another judge's ruling. This is akin to me, this is akin to a principal not wanting to overrule his assistant principal's ruling. Like if the assistant principal say, "Oh, you got to be suspended," the principal typically don't want to step in and override that because it kind of undermines the assistant principal's authority. Is that what we're seeing here with these judges when they are hesitant or they have some type of trepidation about overturning another judge's ruling?
I think there's a degree of accuracy to that. It's the idea that the judge hearing the motion, again, because it could have been the same judge and it'd be a different argument there. I'm grateful it wasn't, even though the result wasn't what I wanted. But for Chitty, what he would what I presume he'd be thinking, what these judges think is, look, I wasn't at the trial. I didn't see everything. I don't know everything. I'm not privy to all the particulars. I'm hearing a very limited part, and I want to give deference to the judge. I don't want to second guess a judge. I wouldn't want to be second guessed. It's very easy to make small mistakes in the moment. You don't want to make big mistakes in the moment. That's why we have these motions. And that's why it needs to be so glaringly obvious, even on just a very basic summary of what the case was. Um, and a lot of it was, from what the arguments that were made, from how it was presented, it was less about the judge, at least initially. I'll circle back to that, and more about the gentleman's deal. The judge made himself an issue when he went and did his press tour. And the counter argument, I think the basis that a person could give, I'm not giving it, but why that wasn't enough. Where once the trial was over and the judge moved on, we know he's retiring, we know he wants to go into private practice. What he did afterwards didn't affect retroactively what he did at the trial, and there's no obvious showing that anything he did during the trial had a bias. If he created a bias afterwards, he's a private citizen, that's his right, but it wasn't so obvious looking at the record. The record meaning that the gentleman's deal was not part of the record, it's all to the side. So what we had for the record was really more about the gentleman's deal. uh Roach made it about himself, but it wasn't enough at face value, I think, is the reasoning.
What's the strongest argument on appeal?
For me now, it's going to be ineffective assistance of counsel, because that really is the heart of the gentleman's deal. I don't say it necessarily in a demeaning fashion to trial counsel. It's very hard being a trial attorney. It's very hard. It takes even the best of us. You're thinking on your feet. There's a lot of pressure. You could always think, what could I have done differently, right? You can always second guess yourself after the fact. But all of this talk about the gentleman's agreement, defense counsel participated in that. I think to the detriment of Carmelo. Questions that will come up, and I don't know the answers, but did Carmelo understand the extent of the gentleman's agreement? Typically, as an attorney, even though I am spearheading the trial. I'm telling my client effectively, this is the game plan. This is what we're going to do. We have some evidence. I'm thinking of not using it. This is why. What do you think? Did Karmelo understand? Did Karmelo know there was this potential evidence, not just about him, but about Austin? Could it come in? Do we want to keep it out? How much was he involved? And even whether or not was he involved, how obvious of an error was that to do a gentleman's deal? You, as a defense attorney, I've been preaching this to you and to your audience. Your obligation, first, foremost, always is to your clients. You have to do what's best for Carmelo. And if you're not upsetting the judge, if you're not pissing off the prosecutor, you are not trying hard enough. Okay. We can be colleagues outside of court as a prosecutor judge. I can see you, I can be cordial, I can respect you, but in the courtroom, the gloves come off. It has to be that way. I don't have to make it personal with the prosecutor. I don't want to talk about his family or something, but I need to be aggressive. I need to put him off his game and stay on my game. And I don't know that this was the best counsel he could have gotten. The other arguments will come in as well.
Not knowing what you know now, would you had made that same gentleman's agreement if you were representing a client?
I don't make gentlemen's agreements. You want to make an agreement? I'll make an agreement. I want it memorialized. I want a receipt. And I don't know that I would have made this agreement on any level. The way I feel about what came out about Austin is very compelling to me from a defense standpoint. And even if it all came in on both of them, and I'm not convinced the evidence against Karmelo would have come in for evidentiary legal reasons. It's still the juice may have been worth the squeeze because nothing about Karmelo was racial in nature. None of it was directed at anyone particular as a young man going through the trials and tribulations of youth. But Austin's sins were much more severe to me.
Well, also, Carmelo, it is said that Carmelo's comments were in relation to a game him and his girl was playing, an actual game that they were playing. It wasn't like he was this sick, demented guy who was thinking, I want to lick blood off of a knife and da-da-da. It ain't like these came out of nowhere, just popped up in his head. It was a game that they were playing, some type of game they were playing. So that is what the testimony revealed. I was actually sitting in the courtroom when that testimony came out. So, but people going to take it and run with it. They're going to take any little thing that they can take and run with it. If I'm Carmelo's lawyer, I'm saying, okay, even with that information, I'll put my client's character up against your client's character any day. In fact, I'll take it further than that. I'll put my client's daddy up against your daddy any day. Because your daddy is your client's daddy is a bona fide racist, a bona fide hateful racist. So I'll put up Carmelo Anthony's daddy up against Austin Metcalf's daddy any day. This is what
and the brother.
These dudes were bullies. They was tyrants. They terrorized the community. They terrorized the people at the school. They were terrorists. People were afraid of them. And for them to try to paint them as good boys, they were good boys, and hell no, they wasn't. No way possible. Anybody that say that, they're being disingenuous. Are they straight up lying? They're delusional. Because
I agree, and that's the point. Carmelo.
There is no way possible that those same people who are saying who have the information they have now about these dudes' past. There's no way possible they can hear all of that and still say, well, they were good boys. God damn, if those are good boys, we are doomed. We are, if that's what you call good, man, you could throw whole society away.
I
Go ahead.
agree. Carmelo never got a fair shake as to his character. From day one, Carmelo's been painted in a negative light. He's this troublemaker. He walks around with a knife. What's wrong with him? He goes where he's not wanted. He shouldn't be in the school. He's always been portrayed that way. And conversely, Austin and his brother have been made, you said it, as the poster boys for Wonder Bread, middle America, white, young, just angels. Like they've been painted as angels. Now, whether or not you think Austin deserved to be stabbed or not is not the question. The question is, was Austin this bona fide victim, this saint that you paint him out to be? And now the answer appears to be no. Austin has a lot of dirt under his nails, so to speak. He's got a lot of interesting layers to him that we weren't privy to, and it changes the optics of a lot of things in this case.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When you look at this record, I'm sitting there and I'm waiting on the it was Russell Wilson, the first chair, the attorney for Carmelo Anthony, who was presenting the testimony, and I'm sitting there like, damn, like I mean, it was like hit after hit after hit after hit after hit. Like, damn, what has he not done? He done smacked up his friends, so-called friends. He beaten people up. He choked his own mama. He threatened to slap his daddy, told him he wasn't going to do jack. He wasn't, well, he didn't use those words. The words he used was a little bit more colorful. But he punched a little girl in the stomach. He said that his hands, Hunter said his hands were bisexual. I mean, he said his hands were bisexual. He hit girls and boys.
Yeah.
So I'm saying to myself, damn, I'm like, this, look, man, I ain't picking on white folks, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm not picking on white folks, but y'all ain't getting no pass, man. No more than a black person would get a pass. Like, if a black person got that type of history, man, and white folks call it out, I'm gonna be like, well, yeah, well, shit, that is what it is. That's what it is. That's what it is. Y'all don't get no pass because y'all got the dominant society and y'all got all the deck stacked and all that. You still can't make people believe that a lie is the truth. These dudes were terrors. Like, hey, Jack, I'm gonna tell you something, Jack. That white privilege is something else, man. When you can take some people who got horrible reputations and they still get to have a good reputation, no matter what. Their reputations is horrible and they still get to be considered angels and good guys. And this is crazy. Even the daddy who is running around here fake crying and all that, fake crying and acting like he's so depressed and everything, who failed as a father. He failed as a father. He went on a rant calling black people everything but a child of God. He called Carmelo Anthony a watermelon felon, and he just said all these horrible things about black people. Now he's, what would you say or what would you do? I know it. No matter what happened in my life, what was going on, I would not have grouped every single all white people in one group and said, this is who they are. This is who all of them are, like he did. And then turn around and got a black guy now in his corner. He got a black guy. He's trying to do some damage control by putting a black guy in his corner and letting the black guy speak for him. Some dude who just speaking out the side of his neck, thinking that, oh, now we supposed to all of a sudden believe you. Dude, we saw the video. You went crazy for like what, damn near an hour, over an hour. You went crazy going off on black people, saying everything that everything under the sun that was negative. You know, just and most of it wasn't even true. So this whole case to me, fam, uh, this is in my opinion. This is in my opinion, just my opinion. This case is a railroad job. It's a railroad job, and it's the good old boys who this uh, went after this kid, Carmelo Anthony, uh, and to try to make an example out of him. It's like even when the white guy attacks the black guy, and the black guy defends himself, the white guy is still painted as the hero. And this ain't just by the court system. This is not just by his parents. This is by the media. We see what you're doing, mainstream media. We see what you're doing. We watching y'all. We see you, TMZ. We see you. We see you in this Nolan Wells case, TMZ. We watching y'all. Yeah. And by the way, yeah, I ain't gonna even get into that. I won't get in that. I digress on that. But
No. I mean, you're right on so many levels. For your audience who might be concerned about why what we're talking about wasn't compelling for Chitty, this goes back to the issue of it. This everything we're talking about Austin's character, what we've learned about his past, was not part of the first trial. So Chitty's only examining what happened, what went right or wrong in the first trial. This evidence never came in. But more importantly, Carmelo's defense team never attempted to put it in because of this gentleman's deal. Let's change the facts for a moment. Let's say defense counsel at trial had tried to submit the character evidence of Austin into evidence, and Roach had denied that. That would be the argument of Roach had a prejudice. Roach so egregiously erred against Carmelo's rights that had that come in, there could have been a difference. We didn't have that argument for the retrial because defense counsel never attempted. It was never brought up on the record. It was never so. We learned it, but it could not be considered. Now I believe it will be considered and it'll be brought up at the appeal level. And Willie, you're absolutely right. It's not just the prosecutor and the county politicians who try to paint this in a certain way. Legacy media ran with this narrative. I mean, that is so crystal clear. I know there were those of you in the know beforehand who heard hints of this evidence that had been, in the background somewhere, but legacy media sat on it. Legacy media chose to paint Austin as this just bona fide victim. And that was really disingenuous. Again, you can think what you want about what the parties did, who hit first, who hit worse, but at least portray them fairly and accurately. That was not done. And there are reasons for people to be upset about that. You're absolutely right.
what opening does the judge's denial create? His brief denial create?
All right.
What opening does it create for the defense?
I mean, at this point, it lays the record. I mean, Russell did a great job of laying a record. It's the exact opposite. It's the exact issue we have about the gentleman's deal. He put it all on the record. Now, when it goes to the appellate level, if it's Wilson or whoever the team is at that level, they can say, "Look, we lay this all out," and the subordinate judge erred in not ruling differently because of it. We're putting it forth to you. We made it a part of the record. It's now part of the case. Now we know about this gentleman's deal that we think defense counsel uh, egregiously made a mistake in. Again, going back to what were the discussions with Carmelo? Did Carmelo have enough participation in his own defense? How much did Carmelo want to or not want to testify? And what were those discussions based on what the evidence was and what the evidence could be? What evidence we try to push? Russell did a really great job of just laying the bricks to build the next level of the house. That's what he had to do. He did a great job. He's setting it up um, for those who did believe and were right that the motion for retrial was a long shot, we're now in the appeals process. This is then the long game. This is the marathon part. And what you need, what appellate judges look at, what they is just paper, the record, the transcripts, the motions, the filings. It's not going to be as much of this in court hearing. It's all about what was recorded. Russell, 10 out of 10 on that.
Yeah, I want to know. I just saw a stat that said that only 2 to 7% of murder convictions are overturned on appeal. That is a tall mountain to cat to climb, right? Uh, but I think you have to consider, uh, you know, uh, you have to consider the fact that most people don't have the resources Carmelo Anthony family have. So most of those that are not overturned, there are people that don't really have resources.
You're absolutely right. I mean, that percentage, while very daunting, includes every single appeal that gets filed. You have a lot of individuals that once they're found guilty and they're incarcerated, they will file motions pro se. They'll just, they'll go into the library, they'll talk to other inmates, and there are a lot of cookie cutter forms. When you see a lot of pro se, which is representing yourself, pro se individuals who represent themselves at trial, they will use these forms, these literal forms that are in the jail library. They'll fill them out. It's all typed out. They put in their name, they check the box, and they submit it, and they'll use the same basic arguments. They don't know enough to submit the transcripts to make the legal arguments for the case law. Will, you're exactly right. It's just a lot of people filing for the sake of it because it can be done, because there's nothing better to do, because you never know. A lot of those cases are not cases with valid or applicable defenses, meaning, Carmelo's case, he did have a right to defend himself. The question becomes, did that right come arise in this situation? But under Texas law, you have a right to protect yourself from lethal violence. In other states, in other cases, there may not have been a self-defense claim. It'll just be the state did not meet their burden at trial, period. Denied. Next case. You're absolutely right. They don't have the depth that Carmelo's approach will. Even your best appellate attorneys, you'll see they take years. It takes a lot of just commitment to the case, a lot of digging, but it can be done. I mean, we've been seeing just lately, I mean, almost monthly, you hear about an individual who, after 20 years in prison, is exonerated and his murder charges thrown out because new evidence arose or a witness recanted or something. But you have to commit to the case. A lot of those other ones, if you want to look at a percentage of well put together, well constructed, well articulated appellate briefs, I imagine the statistic will rise significantly. It'll still be a less than 50%, but it's going to be more than single digits.
Man, I in all situations, I try to put myself in the shoes of others. Like I look at my side, and then I look at the other side, right? So the other side, looking at the other side, I look at, okay, let me start with my side. On my side, I'm thinking if I'm in Carmelo Anthony's shoes and somebody's trying to attack me, they're gonna get whatever I give them. If they trying to attack me, they're gonna get whatever I give them because I'm gonna do whatever I got to do to get you up off me. I don't care whatever it is. That's what I'm gonna do. Whatever I think I got to do to get you off me, that's what I'm gonna do. Now, uh, as a human being, am I, am I excited about taking life if I have to go there to take life? If I have to if I have to take life to spare my own life, am I excited about that? No, I'm not excited about that, but uh, absolutely, um, I am absolutely at peace with the fact that I defended myself, right? I defended myself. Now I look on the other side. Let me put myself in Austin's shoes, right? If I'm in Austin's shoes, well, it'd be hard for me to be in his shoes. But let me say I'm in the shoes of one of his family members, right? Somebody that love him, right? I'm looking at Austin's character, and I'm gonna be like, yeah, man, this is messed up. That was my boy. I loved him. That was my boy. But damn, I told him about that attitude. I told him about. Even his daddy said, yeah, yeah, did he have a bad mouth? He had attitude. His own daddy admitted all of that, right? But then he said, well, he's a good boy. Like what good boy chokes his mama? What good boy threatens to slap his daddy? What good boy punches a little girl in the stomach? What good boy goes around using racial epithets? What good boy gets kicked out of school several times, within a short period, a couple of years or so, a few years. What good boy goes around terrorizing folks? Who does that? So I'm thinking to myself, damn, even though he did all of that, that was still my family member. I still loved him. I wish it wouldn't have happened, but damn, I understand. Because I understand life. I got friends. Let me tell you something. One of my best friends in the world, R.I.P. Keith Robinson, get me choked up thinking about him because we were super tight. He was a woman beater. This dude been putting his hands on girls since he was in kindergarten. Kindergarten. He never hesitated to hit a girl. Well, one day when we were about 17, I think we were like 17, 16, 17. He had jumped on his girlfriend, and then the girl stuff. We were all like in where we lived at were like these apartments, and in the center was a playground area, and we were all hanging out in the playground area right after they got into a fight, and the girl was walking in our direction, but she wasn't coming right towards us. She was just walking in the direction from afar, and he looked up and he saw it, and then he was just like, she better not bring her ass over. And I said, say, man, you better stop putting your hand on these girls, man. Man, somebody gonna kill your ass. Keep on. I said, man, one of these girls gonna kill you, man. I'm in LA at a friend of mine's house, Reggie Johnson, the boxer. I'm at Reggie's house, and I get the call. My brother calls me, and he said, man, you heard about Keith? And I say, no. And he say, he did. And I say, who killed him? A girl? He said, yeah, how you know? This is like years later. So at that time, I'm 24, 25. And I say, who killed him? And I say, a girl. And he said, yeah, how you know? So that was my dog. He had his ways. He was violent. I tried to talk to him. We grew up together, and so even it's an old saying, blood don't make your family, loyalty do. And he was loyal to me, right? So we were friends, but I didn't like some of his ways, and I called him out. I called him out on it, and he never did stuff like that in front of me. I never witnessed him. Like, I wouldn't lie, he know I didn't play that type of game. So he would never do something like that in front of me. But he had a reputation for that. And when he was murdered, it was a tough pill to swallow. I couldn't want revenge on her. I was like, I can't be like, oh, I want her to go to jail for life. She needs to get 99 years. No, he was a woman beater. He was a terror when it came to women. When he had an issue with a woman, Keith was a problem. And Keith rolled the dice on this particular time. He rolled the dice, and that girl came back, and she emptied the clip on him. And that's how I go. For all of y'all out there, y'all Billy Badasses out there. Everybody ain't playing. Everybody ain't scared of you. And even if somebody is scared of you, you know, a scared person will hurt you. You scare a person enough, they'll hurt you. I believe Carmelo was scared. I believe Carmelo was scared of Austin. Usually, when people are not afraid of somebody, they don't use a weapon. I ain't afraid of you, man. Come on, what you want to do then? Well, come on. But he used a weapon because he was afraid. So I'm looking at it like, man, you know, Austin, that was my dog. That's my partner. I love him. That's my friend, my cousin, whatever my relationship was to him. I would have to look at that and say, I hate that that happened. But, you know, life tells me that's how it goes. I knew that that day would probably come if he didn't change his ways. Carmelo told the judge he voluntarily chose not to testify. Now, how damaging is that record now?
Well, I think we're going to find out more in hindsight because the question really is that was a decision, but what did Carmelo know and not know when he made that decision? Um, what did he know about the evidence that was available? What did he know about the evidence that could have been presented and wasn't? Um, so that you know, it's he made the choice based on, I hope, a certain amount of information. But was it all the information? If the answer is no, then his decision is limited, right? Like I always tell clients, you don't have to like what I tell you. I'm not here to give you good news or bad news. I'm here to give you the news. I need you to know everything so you can make a informed decision with me. You need to know what's going on. I need you to know the good and the bad because I need you to make an informed decision. Did Carmelo, we know he made a decision. Did he make an informed decision? I don't know the answer to that. And we've not heard Carmelo's participation or lack thereof, or knowledge or lack thereof, not just about the gentleman's deal, but about what the gentleman's deal was about. So I definitely call into question Carmelo's ability to even be able to answer that in an honest way to himself, right? So it's very hard. You know, yes, he would have made that decision, um, and most defendants don't testify because you. I think you know the prosecutor, and you were there. The prosecutor made literally said the quiet part out loud. I wanted him to testify. I was hoping he would testify. I was like salivating for the opportunity for Carmelo to testify because I was going to ravage him on cross. I know prosecutors feel that way because they rarely get the chance. I don't hear them say it out loud on the record in court. That was wild. Um, and that's what you have to look out for because as a defense attorney, I can put my client up, I can walk him through our narrative, I can walk him, I can prep him. But once cross examination starts, if the questions are legally appropriate, they're fair game. And now, you know, Carmelo's not an attorney, he's not an experienced witness. And people react differently in discomfort. You know, sometimes people have a nervous laugh, a nervous tick, they'll cry. Carmelo could have responded honestly and innocently in a way that could have been misinterpreted, right? Sometimes you'll smirk at someone when they ask you a question because you know the question is so outlandish. Like, how could you ask me that? And a jury may say he's scoffing, he's not taking it seriously, he's guilty. It's very delicate. You have to really, and Carmelo, you know, again, he's a young adult, he's a young man. He doesn't have the life experience that you and I have. He doesn't have the legal experience, he doesn't have the testimonial experience, and an expert witness. It's very daunting to sit on on that chair, in a witness chair, and to know not only are all eyes on you, but all your chips are in the middle. But I need to know, what did Carmelo know? What did Carmelo think? What did Carmelo say about the choice? Because as a defense attorney, as a trial attorney, I make 99% of the decisions ultimately about how I conduct the trial. But the one decision I can never and never make is, does my client testify? It's always their choice. I can tell them it's a bad idea or you need to on this one, but they have to decide. So, but you can't decide if you don't know all the information. Very tough. I want to. I think we're going to learn more about that in the time to come.
Could Carmelo's Anthony's text messages, could that have destroyed his self-defense if admitted?
Not the self-defense, but his, if it was admitted, his character, that's what would have been hurt. And they would have painted him in such a bad light that this is who he is. He's a troublemaker. It didn't prove, the text messages don't prove he was out to unalive someone. They don't prove he was out to hurt white people or hurt these twins, or but that he was in a certain mental state. And again, without the girlfriend, you're reading the text message in a very serious, honest, intentional manner. We don't know it's really a game. We don't have context for it. And it places him in a state of mind where he is dangerous. He's dangerous. He's unhinged. He's saying it by his own words. So I think that was the concern, that it paints him in, this is who Carmelo is. And that's what this is about. And this is why this happened. I think that's the concern. But again, Carmelo reacted. Carmelo was very peaceful and calm and quiet when he went there. And, the trouble came to him. So that's why you have to really weigh. I think Austin's stuff is more damaging to who we were led to believe Austin was.
Let me tell you something, man. Look, I want to be very, very, very crystal clear. I'm not saying that Austin deserved to die, but I am saying that it is very important that everybody, every last one of us, keep our hands to ourselves, and that we are held accountable for our actions. It appears to me that this court, the jury, the judge, the prosecutor, they did not consider the role that Austin played in his death. It was like, oh, he's just completely innocent person. It's just death came to him. Like, no, he went searching for death. He went messing with somebody. He put his hands on somebody, and he got what he got. Now, we understand that logic in most cases. But when it's a race thing, we start like, yeah, we start picking and choosing. We start picking and choosing when it's a race thing. The way I subscribe to the idea that if you pick a fight and you get your ass whooped, you don't get to decide that you are the victim. When you look at the George Zimmerman case with Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman started that fight. He went over there, he accosted Trayvon Martin. If he don't accost Trayvon Martin most likely is still alive and well, and also George Zimmerman is alive and well, because right now, from what I understand, he's depressed and homeless and all kinds of stuff as a result of that Carmelo Anthony altercation and murder. He picked the fight, started getting his ass whooped, and pulled out a gun. Typical. Started getting whooped, pulled out a gun, right? So if you pick a fight, I'll use myself. I picked the fight once. I didn't get my ass whooped, but I got a good kick in the nuts. I picked the fight. I started it. I walked into the bathroom in middle school. It was a dude in middle school who one of my buddies had a problem with. So I go into the bathroom to check him. I get up on him. I'm like, well, what you want? Bam! That dude, he hit me with a karate kick straight in the sack. I was like, I bent over, man. He got me. And, instead of messing with him, instead of, like typically I want revenge. Typically I'm coming to get you, right? But I started it, man. So even when I was a youngster, I had those rules. I had those principles. If I started and if I do something, if I bring something up on myself and I have to be punished, I can take my punishment better than I can if somebody come messing with me. Now, if I wasn't messing with him and he kicked me, it would have been a problem. If nothing would have been able to stop me from getting my lick back. But because I went over there messing with that man and he kicked me in the family jewels, I accepted it. And I also realized, like in life, growing up in Fifth Ward, I seen a lot of death. I seen a lot of drama. I seen a lot of trauma. In most cases, when dudes started fights, when they started something and they got whooped, they accepted it. But when somebody started something with them and that person did them dirty, they whooped them up, do whatever they did, they come back and they want revenge. And they usually get it. So that's what I'm saying. That's why it's important to keep your hands to yourself and don't underestimate anybody. Because we've seen 5-year-olds squeeze triggers and kill people. So it's nothing to squeeze a trigger. I don't care how big and bad you are. They got some handcuffs that'll fit you. I don't care how big and bad you are. They can build a custom casket. You ain't that big where you can't fit in a casket. And if it depends on what the situation is, you might not even make it to a casket. It might just stick you in an inferno and it's over. You know what I'm saying? So put you in one of those what they call them, those what they call them, crematories?
Crematory.
Yeah, put you in one of those.
Yeah.
Then it's over. You know what I'm saying? It's over. Put you in one of those and it's over. So stop underestimating people. Stop putting your hands on women because you think you the biggest, you big and you bad and you tough and you got the win. You got the edge. Stop looking at dudes. Stop going to the gym getting swole up and start looking low. You gonna get, man, I visited death row. I visited death row in Huntsville, Texas. Where they kill more people than anybody in the country, anybody in the world, as far as in terms of prisons. They kill more than anybody. I went there, and the majority of dudes that I saw on death row were under 5'9". Majority of them were under 5'9". Now, what that tell you? that tells you that anybody can get it. And anybody can do you. Stop underestimating people because you bigger than them or you think you got some strength, you got some type of size or you got the numbers on them. Leave people alone. Keep your hands to yourself. And in most cases, you won't experience these type of things. In most cases. So reportedly, Austin had some, not reportedly, Austin had some racist and defamatory messages on his cell phone. So Austin had those type of messages. Karmelo had messages where he fantasized about killing or death or whatever, right? Let's say you put both of those arguments, let's say both of those arguments are presented during the appeals. They get an appeal hearing, and both of those arguments are submitted. Let's pass the appeals. Let's say a new trial is granted. And you got both of those arguments are going to come up, right? They come up. Let's say both lawyers are equal in their presentation. Which of those which of those text series of text messages are more damaging?
For me, it's Austin's because say what you will about what I'm gonna address both. Say what you will about Carmelo's texts about he wants to kill someone, he wants to hurt someone, he wants to lick blood, whatever the comments are. Carmelo was not the one who was the initial aggressor. Carmelo was not the one to put hands first. Okay, so for all this talk about Carmelo wanting to kill people, he's out there. Carmelo didn't act first. All right. Carmelo went over there and calmly sat down with his book bag on his back, okay, like a gentleman, like a good young guy. Okay. He did not look for this. Okay. Whereas now we learn Austin, to me, that raises serious questions about what was Austin's mindset when he saw Carmelo. Because now what we're talking about is Carmelo is black. And we know Austin has no issue vocalizing and verbalizing issues with black people.
Hatred,
So,
his hatred for black people.
okay, so it's hatred, right? So this is not just about, I don't want Carmelo there because I don't know him, because he's from an opposing team. You cannot rule out, and in fact, you have to include that in Austin's head, there is now a racial component to his actions. Okay. And, I've said with you before, some of the worst things that we do to each other as humans is through emotional hatred, i.e., racism, right? It's not grounded in logic. There's no reasoning that says I should not like you because you are darker than I am. And we've made that up. We've made that up to hate each other. So uh, there's no logical reason to be racist towards Carmelo. Carmelo didn't do anything to you, so he's there. He committed the sin of living, of existing in your personal space. Okay, and we know Austin's a big guy. He's a football player. He's probably got some aggression. He's also a young adult. He's probably got a lot of testosterone flowing. He's got his twin brother there. All right. So we got, freaking Frack over here. You got the twin titans. That's got to be emboldening. I mean, you always see people kind of have a little more juice when they're with their friends, when they're with a group, right? He's got the confidence. He's got the uh, you don't know, and my concern, and Carmel didn't know how bad could this get. This could have gotten very bad. This could have been, if not for Carmel defending himself, this could have been a hate crime. Okay, let's imagine we learn what we know about Austin, and Austin is the one that puts Carmelo down, and we know he's writing KKK on the walls and all this stuff. Talk about a freaking hate crime here. So it really, and that's my concern. Did Because the video has no audio, and I've said this before with you, it's not just what you say to someone, it's how you say it. If he relayed a message in a way that's very condescending, very overbearing, very, know your place, boy, you don't know what kind of reaction Austin intended to have on Carmelo. And then things move very fast. You and I, we could watch the tape again and again, fast forward, rewind, fast forward, still frame. Carmelo's in the moment. Fists are flying. Violence is occurring. And I go back to the bleachers are inherently dangerous battleground. You miss, Carmelo tripped trying to escape. You hit the head on the concrete, you got a problem. You got a real problem. Okay. So this could have been so bad for Carmelo in so many different ways. Okay. You have multiple assailants coming on to him. For what? For the sin of being there? That, when you play that really to me expands the reasonableness of Carmelo feeling this imminent threat, this imminent fatal threat. Clearly it was not that safe for him to get away, because when he tried to, he had to go up and around and down, leave his stuff. They chase after him. Okay. There was a lot to this. So, yeah, I think it's Austin stuff that really calls into, is he the victim that the prosecution wants you to think he is. No, he's not. Okay? He has an issue with other races and he has no problem getting physical about it. Okay? You don't know where that goes. And if history's taught us anything, it doesn't go anywhere good.
It's also been reported that Karmelo witnessed at least one incident where Austin and his brother jumped somebody. So that means that that's in the back of his mind. He's thinking that, man, I see what these dudes capable of doing. I can't let that happen to me. Also, Carmelo had epilepsy. He have epilepsy.
So, and I did not know that.
Yeah, he has epilepsy. So that's a situation where any little situation. I mean, he could lose his life. With any type of injury, he could easily lose his life. So there's so much at play here, fam, and it's just so clear to me, man, that this boy was railroaded. It was just so clear. It's not even up for discussion. It's so clear. And the people that want to sit there and argue about it, I already know what time it is. I know where they're coming from. But I can tell you this. My argument is the same. Now, here's the deal. If the shoe was on the other foot, I wouldn't have to argue. Like, for example, if Austin stabbed Carmelo, we wouldn't have to argue this because Austin would be in jail. If Austin stabbed Carmelo and Austin was black, if Austin was black and he stabbed Carmelo, Austin would be in jail. Austin would have been the jail. Austin would have went straight to jail, and nobody would have been complaining about it. Black people wouldn't even be tripping about it because black people wouldn't be tripping about it because they'll say, well, he put himself in that position. I'm talking about. Let me make sure that I'm clear on this. If the roles are reversed, if Austin is the one who that's what I'm trying to say. I messed it up. If Austin had accosted, if Carmelo had accosted Austin, that's what I'm trying to say. If Carmelo had accosted Austin, and Austin was killed. If Carmelo had accosted Austin, and Carmelo was killed. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm switching it up. If Carmelo had accosted Austin and Carmelo was killed, we wouldn't even be here. Because one thing about it, we understand that. Well, damn, he ran up on the dude and tried to, like he tried to put his hands on the dude, and the dude stabbed him. Shit, case closed. We wouldn't be having this conversation. We wouldn't even be having this conversation. But because Austin was white, and there are white people in this country who think that they got a right. There's white people in this country that think they got a birthright to tell black people where they should go. They think they got a birthright to control black bodies. They think that they have a birthright to tell black people where they should be, where they should not be, where they should go, where they should not go. They think that they have a birthright to walk up on black people and say, hey, yeah, you got to move from here. You ain't supposed to be here. And they don't even. It's almost like what I want to know. I mean, you're a white guy. I want to know what's up with white folks always trying to self-deputize themselves. Like when they have an issue with the police, they're like, they understand the police is wrong and they hate the police at this moment. Get rid of the police. That officer needs to be fired, blah, 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 blah. But other than that, it's anytime they have an issue with somebody, especially a non-black person, they want to self-deputize. And all of a sudden they think they're the police. What's up with that?
So, once again, I am not the ambassador for all white people. I'm going to say that.
No, but just give me some insight. I just need a little insight. I'm trying to figure out because black people don't self-deputize. We don't try to be the police. We believe in, hey, live, let live. That ain't my job. That ain't my job to move that person. I'm in the apartment complex. It's not my job to ask somebody to see their key fob or to see their ID. Hey, you don't. That's not our job. That's management job. So if we have an issue with it, we're gonna call management and let management handle it. Why do white people have this this urge or this thing that they have to step into that role and do somebody else's job?
So I'll say this: the people that we've seen, like and I know it happens outside of it. The videos that we see published, the videos that are out there. Um, what's the website? Elena Blackstar does a lot of great stuff with this stuff. These people, these white people, seem to have too much time on their hands. Like, I don't know where they get the time to sit around to be the local like deputy. Like, I gotta go to work. I gotta get the groceries. I gotta get my kids. I gotta get them to bed. I got the dog barking. I don't have time for this. Like, if you're not bothering me, okay. Like, you seem okay. I don't. Why are they there? Why, like, go read a book, go join a spin class? I don't know. Like, do something. Like, find some other purpose in life. The only other thing I could say is this, because I wonder, maybe you can tell me, this seems to happen more, not exclusively, but more in certain areas of the country than others. And also, it seems to be more for those people that are white doing this, that are been here for generations. Like, I'm the first generation of my family born in this country. My parents both came over on a boat, didn't speak English. We are relatively new to this country. I do not understand this like colonial inheritance to the land. Because my parents were hated just as much as a lot of other people when they came off of Ellis Island. That's where they came in through New York. So I always wonder if these people have just been here for literally generations. Like, they've got grandparents and great grand that were colonial, that like remember the Civil War, something to that effect, where they just had this need to be the steward of the town. It makes like, I'm from Brooklyn. This would not have happened in Brooklyn. Like, I've not seen this up firsthand with these people like walking. If they try to do it to me, like, get out of my face, lady. Now I'm here in South Florida, and like, this does not fly. So I'm not saying it can't happen in those areas. And I don't know what these people are thinking. They need a hobby. They need something to do. Go volunteer. I don't know.
Yeah,
It makes no sense to me. Mind you,
yeah,
like I said, live and let live. Go call your grandkids. Go do Sukadu, whatever I don't know, go watch a movie, something. Leave
yeah.
people alone.
Go to hell. Anything. Just go do something. Go do something. Like, this is what happened with Trayvon Martin. This is George Zimmerman, who actually got on the phone with 911 and reported that he was following Trayvon. The woman, the dispatcher, explicitly told him, we don't need you to do that. Don't do that. He did it anyway. He starts the fight, gets his ass whooped, pulls out a gun, kills the boy, and they still let him off. They still acquit him of murdering this boy. See, this I'm gonna tell you something, fam. This is for anybody that this is for all races, right? No matter what you think, some of y'all got race war on your mind. Some of y'all be talking race war, race war. First of all, the main ones that's talking that race war stuff ain't gonna bust a grape. You ain't gonna push a duck in the pond and ain't gonna jump in and save it. So we already know you. You know what I'm saying? You the same ones that be talking about go invade another country and you ain't finna be no boots on the ground. You ain't finna go bust a grape. But you want somebody to send their children, you want everybody else's children to go out there and go out there and get killed, or go out there and get traumatized and get their head knocked off, get their legs blown off. But you ain't gonna bust a grape. And that's just how a lot of these hate mongers in the United States are, who run around preaching race, getting people all riled up. You go out there and go do something stupid, get your head knocked off, or you end up killing a bunch of people. Now your life is over. You in jail for a gang of years, or you end up getting killed. And that fool's still preaching division. He's still preaching his hate, and you falling right on into the trap. Don't fall for it. But if you do, let me tell you something. Uh, this country that you love so much, I'm talking about specifically for you right wingers, that because y'all talk about race wars more than anybody. So it ain't gonna go like you think it's gonna go. Whatever you thinking, however you thinking it's gonna go, it ain't gonna go like that. And this country that you enjoy, you better enjoy this shit like you got it right now. You better enjoy it, because you ain't gonna get no better. You better enjoy it, because it ain't gonna go like you think it's gonna go. This privilege that you got, you ain't gonna have that should something like that happen. I'm letting you know. Whatever you think it's gonna be. See, pride comes before the fall. In life, period. Pride comes before the fall. There have been times in my life where I thought I had it figured out and I was overconfident. Most of the time when I was overconfident, I fell short. And I'm just telling you that this country really needs people who are in the business of uniting. Now, because you're in the business of uniting people does not mean you got to be a sucker and you can't speak on serious issues. Like, I personally believe that we are better in this country. I think we are better when we come together. I think we're better when we work together. When we come together, I think we're better. But I also subscribe to, but if you want to get it on, we can get it on. I ain't scared of your ass. Straight up, I'm not afraid of you at all. And I ain't the dude that's just ready to die. You know, I'm ready to do some other stuff too. All right. So that's me. But what I'm saying is that we're better when we come together. All of this, all of this division, all of this racial hatred, all it's doing is putting people in the hospital and stressing people out and making them shorten their life. Because how you wake up every day mad? How you wake up every single day just mad? Every day you wake up, you mad. And you mad at people who ain't, you don't even know these people. You just look at somebody's skin and it make you, you know what I'm saying? How you do that? How you live like that?
I'll say this if I could. On the flip side of it, if you want to meet the nicest bunch, the biggest, baddest bunch of nicest guys of all races, join a gym. I go to a gym down here, and I'm not trying to say I'm a big guy or anything, but I go to the gym 5 days a week. I'm there 5 in the morning, and you've got the biggest guys. I would cross the street if I saw them walking my way, black, white, brown, Asian, right? And they're all the nicest people. I walk in, I'm getting half a dozen hugs from all these guys, and they're happy to see me. You need a spot? Can I ask you how you do that set? The nicest bunch of guys you'd ever meet. And the women too, everyone there is just, and we were talking before, these are big guys, right? These are the kind of guys that don't start fights. They don't have their 6+, they're 250 pounds, they're bulging, right? These guys like bodyguards, sweetest guys, they'd open the door for you, right? Everyone's polite to the ladies. Go join a gym and see what humanity could be like. And that's it, man. These guys are all just amazing. If any of these guys I saw them on the corner needed something, I'd help them out. Like, super friendly. How you doing? You see how your kids, how's work going? What'd you work out today? You look good. Just, uninvited kindness. It costs nothing. It costs nothing to be nice to each other. And the returns are just tenfold. So I invite everyone, go to the gym and see what like harmony could be like. It's pretty good. It's a lot of fun.
Okay, well, I think I might go ahead on and join the gym then, man. I think I'll join the gym. You know what I don't like about gyms though? I don't like you gotta wipe every time you get on some equipment. You gotta wipe something down, and I don't like when I'm in the sauna and dudes be trying to talk to me, man. I don't like that.
I don't do the sauna. I don't do the sauna.
I like that, man. I don't like that, man. Let me breathe, man. Just let me breathe. You know.
Yeah, I
That's
don't do.
yeah. Go ahead. You don't do
No,
that.
yeah, I don't do the sauna. The saunas, I gotta go to work. I'm not doing the sauna. I hear what you're saying. It's like we're cool, but I need my moment now.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, so I guess so. In conclusion, how long could this appeals process realistically take?
Okay, here's the answer no one wants to hear. Years. This is gonna
Mm.
be years. Because now the issue is Carmelo is at the back of the line. He's only behind every other appeal that got filed before him. Okay. The appeals process is timely. And it's a lot of hurry up, sit down, and wait your turn. And that's what it is. There are deadlines for filings and submissions, and then it's you have to wait for time. Because again, typically it's closed doors. Typically it's just the judges reading the filings, not going in typically, not making oral arguments. And there's so many ahead of Carmelo, so many ones that are probably not going to succeed, or probably just very cookie cutter, but it takes years. So unfortunately, especially for Carmelo, he is going to be in a state of purgatory, so in a state of flux for at least a couple of years before that first appellate brief it's heard. And then again, there are levels he can go to. He has multiple chances to find relief, but like I said, for those of us who are supporting him, for those of us who want better for him, now it's a long game. Now it's we have to sit and wait.
Let's say you Carmelo Anthony's lawyers. What's that one? What's the one issue in the case that you're betting on to get that appeal?
That the that everything related to the gentleman's deal is tantamount to ineffective assistance of counsel. That it was just so egregious. It cannot be set aside. That had that been done differently, and it should have been handled differently. That if Carmelo was not made aware, not just of what existed, but what the options were and what the consequences could be. And if he did not have that when he made his decision to testify, everything related to that goes to ineffective assistance of counsel. That's on the defense. You have to give Carmelo an opportunity at a fair trial, and that includes having the best competent defense possible. I don't know that he got that.
Tell me what you think. Make of this, Jack. So I'm sitting there inside of the courtroom, and I look up, and Bill Worski, the prosecutor, tells the judge, "Your Honor, you mind before the judge gave him approval, he tells the judge, Judge, you don't mind if I shake a hand of a good friend of mine, right?" And he shakes the hand of Mike Howard, Carmelo Anthony's former defense attorney, who helped him get 35 years in prison. What do you make of that?
Um, I don't like it. I don't like it for a few reasons. One, I think that's just a really bad play in front of all of us. To the extent you know him as a colleague, you've had cases against him, maybe you used to work together at the office, whatever it is, you didn't need the permission. Like before and after hearings, out of respect, I will shake the hand of opposing counsel because to us, it's not personal. We're doing our jobs. I win some, I lose some. Okay, counselor, see you next time, whatever it is. After a jury trial, whether I win or lose, it's kind of showing respect to pugilists in a ring, right? When the fight is over, despite what you said, okay, well done, I respect you, and that's it. You don't need to announce to everyone, hey, I'm gonna shake his hand. It was like this. Everything about what the prosecutor did at the hearing was slimy. It was just slimy, and now because he had to make such a point that like I need permission. Again, if I'm the appellate attorney, if I'm doing everything in the best interest of Carmelo, I'm gonna say, how close was their relationship? Did the defense counsel maybe inherently hold back because he felt some kind of gentleman's obligation to opposing counsel? Like, could he have done more? Was he pulling his punches because they kind of know each other to a degree? Like, I am friendly with a lot of opposing attorneys, a lot of prosecutors, and I give them holy hell at the hearing. They know I'm going to do it. That's what and they expect it. I'm not shy about it. It's not because I don't like them or like them. It's because my obligations to my client, and they know that's my job, and they respect what I need to do and what I'm trying to do. I don't need to announce to the judge I'm going to shake the prosecutor's hand. It's slimy. It throws a weird shade on everything. And if I'm the appellate attorney, I'm using everything at my disposal to say, what was that all about? Why was that necessary? Should we be questioning the loyalties of trial counsel? Maybe. But the whole thing was just unnecessary. It was like this play to show he's this good guy that he is not.
Right. Right, exactly. I absolutely agree with you. That prosecutor is a problem, man. That prosecutor, he got that good old boy mentality. He's entitled. He know he has the deck stacked, and he's just really, really arrogant. To watch him, like he's really. I'm talking about, like really, really arrogant. He's really arrogant. You know, uh, the prosecutor Bill Worski, he and what's his name, Toby Shook. They used to prosecute together. Toby Shook was the second chair for Carmelo Anthony. Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they had. So they used to prosecute together. To me that's an automatic conflict of interest right there. They used to, you know, ah,
You know, it's here's the issue. A lot of prosecutors and public defenders go into private practice. And so it's extremely common for either of those sides, especially prosecutors, when they go into private practice, if they like criminal law, you can't be a private prosecutor. You're now going to be a defense attorney. Like, I'm a former prosecutor. So in Brooklyn, New York, and then I went to defense work. So even knowing I would ultimately go probably into defense work, into private practice, you go and you learn the skills. A prosecutor, one of the reasons you would become a prosecutor if you like criminal law is to learn the trade, learn the craft. And quite frankly, for me, it's always great to learn the tactics of your adversary, right? If you want to beat your adversary, know how they work, know how they operate, know the office. I mean, it's invaluable. It's invaluable to know firsthand how a prosecutor thinks. Because I can say to myself, if I'm the prosecutor, what would I do? And then how do I outsmart myself? I always want to think the prosecutor knows what I know. How would I defeat that? And if he didn't know it, I'm even at a more strategic advantage. So I'm not as much as a rush to say because I used to work in the office, because man, most defense attorneys are, half of them are going to be former prosecutors somewhere. Um, but if you're a legitimate defense attorney, that was the past, that was a skill, that was a job, and now my I'm on a different team. It's like on a baseball. If a player was on one team and got traded, you don't throw the game for the team you used to be on. You're committed to your team. You got a new family, a new team, and you got to be all in or do not play this game, because it's only someone else's life that's on the line. So typically you wouldn't have that happen, but it can happen where they're just too close, which is why sometimes you have to bring up, look, I need you to know the prosecutor, he's my child's godfather, and he's at my house every weekend, and I need to disclose that. Does anyone have an issue? Yes, we have an issue. Okay, we got to recuse that party. We've seen that happen when there are legitimate personal relationships. That happens, but you should be more ethical and upstanding, and notify everyone and give everyone the chance to say no, it's okay, or no, it's not okay, thank you for letting us know. If they had this like insipid behind the doors, they were closer than we thought, it's fair to bring up, because things not only did not go Carmelo's way, but decisions were made that are highly questionable.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Hopefully, we've given you some insight and that was some value to this broadcast. The goal here, fam, is just to kind of like what I try to do is I want to bring attorneys like Jack on to try to to educate us a little bit more on the legal process, because a lot of us we just firing off the hip, as just laymen's, as just regular people who see injustice, we see things going one way and we look at them like, nah, that don't look right, that don't sound right. Well, when I bring in somebody that do this for a living, this is what they do, then they can bring clarity to these type of situations. So Jack, thank you again for coming on the show.
Thank you as always, my friend. Pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. All right, y'all. Fam, let me do some shout outs real quick. I see China Carter in the building. What's up, China? I see Sheila. Was that Sheila? No, is that how you is that Sheila? Shelly? Ah, okay. Uh, Miss Peterson, how you doing? Let's see. Char time. Vicky Slaughter. Vicky, what's up, Vicky? JC, what it do? What's up, Katie? Kat? Trina Davis, what it do? Sam? Who we got here? Dee Dee, I see you. Okay, fam, that's my time. Let me hold on. Let me just do a couple more shout outs. Couple more, just a couple more. Let's see. By the Spirit. By the Spirit. Queen Judah. What's up, Queen Judah? We got Joyce DuBose. Gina. What's up, Gina? One more. Dee Dee, I see you. All right, fam. I appreciate y'all. Enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. More videos coming soon. Stay tuned. No more talk.